Have you ever jolted awake between 3 and 5 in the morning? Heart beating faster than usual, thoughts racing, a strange stillness all around you. You stare at ceiling, the world is asleep, but you're not. What if I told you that this moment, this exact hour, was not a coincidence? You see, this mysterious window of time isn't just some random blip in your sleep. It's not your body betraying you. In fact, many ancient cultures, spiritual traditions, and even modern science agree something powerful happens between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m. Something most people completely ignore. This is the hour of awakening, an hour when the world is silent, but your soul begins to speak. There's a reason why monks rise during this time to meditate. There's a reason why creative geniuses have their breakthroughs in these hours. And there's a reason why you might feel something stirring inside you, something you can't explain. Now here's the thing no one talks about. Waking up at this hour can be a signal, a message from your body, a whisper from the universe, a nudge from your higher self. And if you keep ignoring it, you might be missing out on one of the most important opportunities of your life. Because in this video, you're going to learn 3 powerful things you must do if you ever find yourself awake during this sacred hour. 3 actions that will not only calm your restless mind, but may unlock clarity, peace, and purpose you never knew you needed. These are not your usual drink water and go back to bed tips. No, these are deeper, wiser, and rooted in both neuroscience and spiritual insight. And if you stay with me till the end, I'll share one final secret, something most people never realize about this hour that could change the way you look at your entire life. This isn't just a video, it's a wake-up call. So the next time you rise in the darkness, don't roll over and try to force yourself back to sleep. Sit up, breathe, and remember, you're not alone, you're not broken, you're being called. What you do next could change everything. Let's begin. Before we talk about the 3 things you should do when you wake up between 3 and 5 a.m., it's important to first understand why this even happens. You're not the only one. In fact, millions of people across the world wake up at this same window of time. It's more common than you think. And no, it's not just about having too much coffee or a bad dream. There's something deeper going on. From a scientific point of view, this has a lot to do with your body's internal clock, what experts call the circadian rhythm. Around 3 to 5 a.m., your body is going through a natural shift. Your core temperature is at its lowest. Your melatonin levels are starting to drop. Cortisol, the hormone that helps wake you up, begins to rise slowly. For some people, that hormonal shift is enough to disturb their sleep. If your mind is already stressed, anxious, or restless, this transition can jolt you awake. But that's just one side of the story, because on the other side, far beyond biology, many cultures and spiritual teachings believe this time is sacred. Some call it the spiritual hour. Others refer to it as the witching hour. But whatever the name, the idea is the same. This window between 3 and 5 a.m. is believed to be the time when the veil between the physical and the spiritual world is the thinnest. The world is silent, the energy is still, and in that silence, your inner self becomes louder. This is when ancient sages meditated. This is when deep prayers were said. This is when many believe the universe tries to whisper to you, gently, while everything else is asleep. It's also no coincidence that many people experience intense dreams, or even sudden bursts of emotion during this time. In traditional Chinese medicine, this period corresponds with the lungs, an organ connected to grief and emotional release. If you're carrying unresolved feelings or spiritual tension, they often surface at this hour. You might wake up feeling wide awake, not because something is wrong, but because something inside you is trying to be heard. Maybe it's a forgotten goal, a buried fear, or simply a deep unspoken truth. Waking up at this hour doesn't always mean your sleep is broken. Sometimes it's your spirit that's wide awake. And while modern science will point to hormones, sleep cycles, or even dietary patterns, spiritual traditions will point to purpose, calling and So the question isn't just, why am I awake? The real question is, what am I being called to hear? Because once you understand this time for what it truly is, not a problem, but a potential, everything begins to change. And that's when the power of this hour really begins to reveal itself. Let's take a closer look at what science says about waking up between 3 and because while the spiritual meanings are powerful, there's also a biological story unfolding behind the scenes, one that starts with stress, anxiety, and your body's natural chemistry. When you go to sleep, your body isn't just shutting down, it's going through a highly organized process. Your brain moves through different stages: light sleep, deep sleep, and REM sleep. REM, or rapid eye movement sleep, is when most dreaming happens. It's also when your brain is most active, processing emotions and memory. This REM stage often begins around midnight and can peak in the early hours of the morning. Yes, between 3 and 5 a.m. Now here's where stress plays a big role. When you're under pressure or dealing with emotional tension, your brain doesn't fully switch off. Even while you're sleeping, your nervous system stays on high alert. This can cause disruptions during REM sleep, making you more likely to wake up. In fact, studies show that people with anxiety or high cortisol levels tend to wake up earlier than others, often during this exact window. Cortisol is known as the stress hormone. It follows a daily rhythm, rising in the early hours to help prepare your body for the day. But if your cortisol levels spike too early, maybe because of a worry stuck in your subconscious, that rise can trigger an early wake. You might not even feel panicked, but your body is already preparing to fight or flee, long before the sun comes up. Alongside cortisol, adrenaline can also kick in. It's part of your body's emergency system. If you had a nightmare, a disturbing thought, or even an unresolved issue weighing on your mind, your body might release a little surge of adrenaline in response. And just like that, your peaceful sleep turns into sudden alertness. Your heart rate goes up, your mind switches on, and you're wide awake. Another factor that's often overlooked is blood sugar. If you eat late at night or consume sugary snacks before bed, your blood sugar levels can crash in the early morning hours. When that happens, your body sees it as a threat. To protect you, it releases stress hormones to boost your energy, and that spike can jolt you awake. It's not because you're hungry, it's because your body's working overtime to stabilize itself. This delicate mix of hormones, emotional residue and physical triggers makes 3 to 5 a.m. a perfect storm for waking up. And if you've been going through a rough patch in life, even a small imbalance in this system can interrupt your sleep without warning. So while it may feel random, these early wake-ups are often your body's reaction to something very real, something it's trying to handle, process, or protect you from, all before the world has even started its day. While science explains the body, the spiritual world seeks to explain the soul. And when it comes to waking up between 3 and 5 a.m., spiritual teachings across cultures share something fascinating. This time is not ordinary. In fact, it is seen as sacred. A time when the universe is quiet enough for your inner voice to be heard. A time when the noise of the day fades and the deeper truths begin to rise. Many spiritual traditions refer to this early morning window as the hour of awakening, or the divine hour. In some cultures, it's believed to be the moment when the barrier between the physical and spiritual realms is at its thinnest. This means energy flows more freely. Messages, insights, and emotions that are normally hidden beneath the surface can rise up, not as distractions, but as signs. Waking up during this time, according to these beliefs, is not an accident. It's an invitation. Some say it's a call from the universe, a gentle nudge from your higher self, a moment when your soul wants to speak, and the world is finally quiet enough to listen. Have you ever noticed that your thoughts feel different at that hour? More raw, more honest. There's no pretending at 4 a.m., no filters, just truth. That truth may come in the form of a thought you've been avoiding, a dream you've forgotten, or a feeling that's been buried deep for far too long. In spiritual circles, 3 to 5 a.m. is also considered the perfect time for prayer, meditation, or reflection. It's when many spiritual masters, monks, and yogis begin their day, not just to discipline the body, but to align the spirit. They believe the energy during these hours is purer, calm, more open. And when you tap into that stillness, something incredible can happen. You begin to reconnect with who you truly are. If you keep waking up during these hours, it may be a signal that your soul is craving attention. Maybe there's a part of you that's been neglected, a dream that's been silenced, or a path you're meant to follow, but haven't yet stepped onto. These quiet hours could be your personal gateway to healing, growth, and deeper understanding. And while it may feel unsettling at first, waking up when the world is asleep, many spiritual teachings suggest that these moments are some of the most powerful ones you'll ever experience. It's not about the discomfort. It's about the message behind it. What is your inner voice trying to say? What patterns keep repeating in your life? What lesson is trying to reach you? Because sometimes the soul doesn't wait for a convenient time to speak. It speaks when it knows you'll hear it. And more often than not, that moment is between 3 and 5 in the morning. If you find yourself awake between 3 and 5 a.m., the first thing you can do is something simple but deeply powerful. Reflect and journal. In this quiet space, where the world is still, your mind is more open, and your heart more on. This is a rare moment where you're not distracted by noise, tasks, or expectations. You're just there, with yourself. Start by paying attention to what you're feeling. Don't rush to turn on your phone or scroll through notifications. Instead, sit still for a moment. Ask yourself gently, why am I awake? What's on my mind? What emotions am I carrying right now? Sometimes the answers are buried just beneath the surface, waiting for the silence to bring them up. This is your chance to meet them face to face. Grab a notebook, or even just a piece of paper, and begin to write. You don't have to write a story. Just jot down what comes to mind. It could be a thought that keeps repeating, a dream that felt too real, a fear that crept in quietly, or maybe even a sense of calm that you can't quite explain. The goal isn't perfection. It's honesty. The act of writing turns vague thoughts into something solid, something you can understand, something you can grow from. Dreams, especially, can hold surprising meaning during these hours. If you woke up from one, write it down as soon as you can. Don't worry if it doesn't make sense right away. Over time, you might begin to see patterns or messages hidden inside. Emotions also rise more clearly during this time. You might find yourself writing things you didn't know were inside you. Resentment, hope, regret, longing, gratitude. Let it all out. This is your sacred space. Journaling during these hours isn't just about unloading thoughts. It's about discovering things you missed during the day, the things you suppress, the quiet truth. Sometimes it's in these pages that you'll stumble upon the exact answer you've been looking for. A solution, a fresh idea, or just a better understanding of yourself. Many people who journal during this hour report feeling lighter afterward, more at peace, more focused. That's not an accident. That's clarity taking root. What seemed overwhelming before may feel smaller once it's written down. What felt confusing may finally make sense. Even writing just one sentence can shift your mood and direction. So next time you're awake in the still darkness, don't see it as wasted time. Open a blank page, let the pen move, and give your inner voice room to speak. Because some of your deepest wisdom is already inside you, waiting for a quiet moment to rise. When you wake up between 3 and 5 a.m., after you've reflected and written your thoughts down, the next powerful step is to meditate or pray. This is not about rituals or religion. It's about connection. Connection with your inner self, with peace, with something greater than you. These early hours are the perfect time to turn inward and listen, not to the world, but to the silence within. Meditation doesn't have to be complicated. You don't need incense or mantras, or a perfect posture. Just close your eyes, breathe deeply, and become aware of the moment. Feel your breath. Notice your body. Allow thoughts to pass without judgment. With each breath, let your mind settle. It's in that stillness that clarity begins to form. You might notice feelings you didn't realize you were carrying. You might suddenly understand something that was confusing the day before. This isn't coincidence. It's mindfulness revealing what was already there. And if you believe in something higher, this is the time to pray. Speak from the heart. No script. No pressure. Just honesty. Whether it's gratitude, confusion, pain, or hope. Say it out loud or in your mind. These words are powerful, especially in this quiet hour. This is a sacred space, a moment where distractions are gone, and the channel between your soul and the universe feels more open. Spiritual leaders and mystics from many traditions speak of this time as the hour of divine connection. They believe this is when your energy aligns most naturally with the flow of the universe. Whether you call it God, Source, the universe, or simply inner truth, the idea is the same. This is when you're most likely to hear what really matters. Even 5 minutes of sitting in silence, focused breathing, or whispering a heartfelt prayer can shift your entire mindset. It reduces stress. It lowers anxiety. It improves emotional health. But more than that, it brings you back to yourself. In a world that constantly pulls you in 100 directions, these quiet moments become your anchor. There's a reason why monks, sages, and seekers all choose these hours for spiritual practice. The energy is pure. The air is still. There's no noise, no rush, no pressure, just you, your breath, and something eternal. You don't have to be perfect. You don't even have to feel spiritual. You just have to show up with presence, with humility, with openness. When you make meditation or prayer a habit in this hour, you begin to notice a change, not only in your sleep patterns, but in your entire day. You become more grounded, more focused, more in tune with what really matters. Problems feel smaller, purpose feels stronger, and you carry that peace with you long after the sun rises. So if you're ever awake while the world is asleep, use that moment to go inward, because sometimes the answers you're looking for aren't out there. They're already inside you, waiting in the silence to be found. Once you've reflected and spent time in stillness through meditation or prayer, the next step is to gently reconnect your body with your breath. One of the simplest but most effective ways to do this is through gentle movement or breathing exercises. This isn't about working out or doing anything intense. It's about calming your nervous system and guiding your body back into a state of rest. When you wake up between 3 and 5 a.m., your body might still be holding on to tension from a dream or worry, or simply the stress stored up from the day before. Light stretching can help release. Try standing slowly, or even staying seated on your bed, and gently moving your neck, shoulders, arms, and back. These soft stretches activate circulation without waking you up too much. You're not trying to energize. You're trying to soothe. One of the most powerful things you can do during this time is focus on your breathing. Start by placing one hand on your chest and one on your belly. Then slowly inhale through your nose for a count of 4. Hold for a count of 4. And exhale gently through your mouth for a count of 6. Repeat this a few times. You'll start to feel your body respond. Your heart rate slows. Your thoughts settle. Your muscles release tension. This type of deep mindful breathing sends a signal to your brain that everything is okay, that there's no need for fight or flight. If you prefer something even simpler, just sitting quietly with your eyes closed and focusing on each inhale and exhale can work wonders. You can also try a technique called box breathing. Inhale for 4 seconds. Hold for 4. Exhale for 4. This rhythm helps regulate your internal state and brings a calmness that's both mental and physical. Some people also find that a gentle walk around the room,
or swaying side to side while standing can help shift stagnant energy. You're not trying to stay awake, you're simply giving your body what it needs. A little movement to reset, a little breath to soothe. The body and mind are deeply connected. When your body feels safe and relaxed, your mind follows, and when your mind softens, sleep becomes more inviting. After a few minutes of these practices, you may start to feel a natural drowsiness return. That's your body's way of saying it's ready. You've done what it needed. You've listened, processed, breathed, and moved. Now it's safe to rest again. That kind of gentle return to sleep is far more peaceful than tossing and turning or fighting with your thoughts. So if you ever find yourself wide awake in the middle of the night, don't panic. Let your breath guide you. Let your body stretch and unwind. These simple movements and mindful breaths can transform the restless hours into a time of healing. So when you do drift back to sleep, you rest deeper than before. Creating the right environment plays a huge role in how well you sleep and how easily you can fall back asleep when you wake up during the early morning hours. Your surroundings can either help calm your mind or keep it alert and restless. So if you find yourself waking between 3 and 5 a.m., one of the most important things you can do is make sure your space supports rest, not disruption. Start with light. Darkness signals to your brain that it's time to sleep. Even a small amount of light, like the glow from your phone screen or a hallway light, can confuse your internal clock. When you wake up, avoid turning on bright lights. If you need a little visibility, use a dim nightlight or a soft lamp with warm tone. This helps your body stay in a relaxed state, rather than jumping into full alertness. Keep curtains closed, especially if sunrise is near. Consider blackout shades if light pollution from outside is a problem. Noise is another big factor. Even small subtle sounds, like a buzzing appliance or traffic outside, can interrupt your sleep cycle. That's why it's helpful to keep the room as quiet as possible. If total silence feels uncomfortable, try using soft background noise like a fan, white noise machine, or calming nature sound. These can block out sudden disturbances and make the room feel more soothing. The key is consistency. Sound that doesn't surprise or stimulate, but gently supports rest. Then there's temperature. Your body naturally cools down when it's preparing for sleep. So if your room is too warm, it can interrupt that process. Ideally, your sleep space should feel a little cool. Between 60 and 67 degrees Fahrenheit is often recommended. That slight drop in temperature helps trigger the release of melatonin, the hormone that promotes sleep. If your blankets are too heavy or the air feels stuffy, try using a lighter comforter or cracking a window for fresh air. Also think about comfort in the broader sense. Is your bed supportive? Are your sheets breathable and soft? Is there anything in the room that causes irritation or discomfort, like clutter or harsh smells? Every little detail adds up. Your bedroom should be a place your body recognizes as a haven, the signal that it's time to rest and repair. Most importantly, avoid screens. This is one of the hardest habits to break, but one of the most crucial. The blue light from phones, tablets, or TVs disrupts melatonin production and tells your brain to stay awake. Even checking the time can be enough to spark anxiety or start your mind racing. So if you wake up and feel tempted to scroll, resist. Instead, sit in the calm, journal, breathe, stretch. Trust that your body knows how to return to sleep, as long as you give it the right environment. By creating a space that is dark, quiet, cool, and free from distractions, you're not just helping yourself fall asleep. You're teaching your body and mind that this is a place of peace. And that message, repeated night after night, creates powerful change over time. Waking up between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m. might seem like a disturbance, but it's not always a problem. In fact, it can be a doorway, a quiet moment where life pauses, and you're invited to connect with something deep. Whether it's stress, a message from within, or a spiritual nudge, this early hour holds meaning if you're willing to listen. Instead of tossing and turning or feeling frustrated, try to embrace this time. Use it to reflect, to journal, to breathe, to pray, to stretch. Let it become a space for healing and clarity, a moment where your mind settles and your spirit rises. You don't need to fear these awakenings. You can turn them into powerful rituals of growth and peace. If you've ever experienced this, or if you try these steps and notice a change, share your story in the comments. We'd love to hear how you're using this quiet hour in your own journey. And if this video helped you, don't forget to like it and subscribe to our channel for more content that supports your mind, body, and spirit.